This is the most dangerous stretch of water on Earth,
090, please.
where calm seas turn killer in an instant.
If you see me heading for the lifeboats, don't hang around and ask why.
Over 2,000 ships have been lost where the Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean.
If you're an adrenaline junkie, this is the place for you. Almost everybody's been hurt somewhere or other. It's just part of the job.
Only 14 sea captains have the skills and guts to board these giant ships, then direct them safely through the Columbia's treacherous waters.
Hang on.
Every day, they risk their lives to keep billions of dollars of cargo moving.
Good job on the wheel. Number one.
Without them, the entire Pacific Northwest trade would shut down.
I wear this because I hang out a helicopter in 50-mile-an-hour winds. Those guys have a lot of guts, I'll tell you that.
This is the story of the brave men of the untamed Columbia.
You don't have to be crazy to do this, but it helps.
This is Deadly Crossing. The mouth of Oregon's Columbia River is called the graveyard of the Pacific. 700 sailors lie at the bottom of these violent waters.
This is a place you can actually lose a ship. I mean, not just bang it up, but lose it.
A ship's regular captain isn't allowed to guide his craft through here.
When the wind's howling 60, 70 knots and when the seas are 20 to 25 feet out there, sometimes you just don't want to go.
But because the Columbia River is the gateway to one of America's most profitable ports, the crews must put their lives on the line every single day.
If you couldn't move ships, the U.S. economy would fall apart. There's no other way to say it. It is a very vital cog in the economy.
Right on the border of Oregon and Washington, thousands of ships must pass over the river mouth's hard-as-concrete sandbar, where powerful churning currents and giant waves can whip up in an instant. If a sea captain makes one wrong move, he'll be battered on the sea floor and run his ship into the deadly rocks which line the opening. He won't just lose his cargo, he'll lose his crew. It's a grueling, emotional, high-stakes job. So exhausting, the bar pilots work 15 days on, then 15 days off to recover. Today is day one. Back on the job for Captain Thron Riggs. He's boarded a Chinese cargo ship, and he's focused on one thing: get it safely across the sandbar and send it back to Hong Kong.
065. I try not to dwell on the danger. As soon as you drop, you get a little complacent, something's going to bite you in the ass. Pilots don't steer the ship. You have a helmsman that does that. But at a certain point, I'll tell them everything to do. I'll say port 10, midships, starboard 20, all the way through the bar until we get into calm water.
Riggs has spent a quarter-century at sea and been working these waters for 15 years.
I've gone to sea all my life. From the time I knew that I was me, I was in the water.
Like threading a needle, Riggs directs the ship's regular crew through the rolling waves and over the giant sandbar. It may only take minutes to get through the worst part, but it's a gut-churning passage.
Quite a ride.
Now in the open sea and beyond the danger of the bar, Riggs hands command back to the ship's regular captain. Now it's time for the most hazardous part of Riggs' job: getting off this ship and on to his next assignment. Riggs has two choices. The first is to make the potentially neck-snapping climb down the side of this giant freighter and onto a tiny boat. But ship-to-boat transfers can be deadly. Riggs knows that firsthand. He survived a fall into these icy waters.
And my immediate concern was that the propeller Now, the ship didn't get me.
Extreme cold will kill in minutes.
I had no strength. I couldn't do anything for myself, even after just 10 minutes in the water. I could move my arms, but I had no strength.
Riggs was lucky.
I'm not going to say I wasn't traumatized by it and didn't think about it for a long time. Still think about it, but maybe I fared a little better than others would have.
Today, Riggs chooses his second option. He's called for the helicopter, dubbed the Seahawk. Its pilot is wartime vet Jeremy Youngquist.
If you take getting shot at out of the equation in the military, you know, and tracked by, you know, surface-to-air missiles and things like that, this is definitely the most dangerous job I've ever done, and it's one of the most dangerous helicopter jobs out there.
Picking up Riggs from a moving ship isn't easy. It requires skill, a steady hand,
We're getting 20 miles offshore right now.
and a second set of eyes.
The hoist operator is vital. You know, I can't see what's behind me while I'm hovering, and so he's responsible for making sure we don't hit anything as we're hovering next to the ship.
Laser clear, tail clear, the height is safe.
You have a human life in your hands. It's a tremendous responsibility to make sure that everything happens the way that it's supposed to.
The freighter powers through the angry waves at full speed to reduce side-to-side rolling. Youngquist aims for the moving landing pad.
A little bit to the right. Turn time, perfect. Forward, touchy. This height safe.
If he misses something, like let's say that there's something back by the tail rotor that he didn't see, and we hit it, well, it's all over.
Steady, steady.
Even on deck, the helicopter isn't safe. A rogue wave can send it over the side, so Riggs makes a run to board the chopper.
Now let's go.
Before we do it.
Unless fog keeps it grounded, the Seahawk has become the bar pilot's quickest way to get from ship to ship. They arrive at Riggs' new assignment. It's a container ship, but there's no room to land. Youngquist has his eye on a small gap in the containers. That means only one thing, an 8-story drop at full speed.
I'm not saying that I like being hanging out on that hook and being dangled like a piece of bait. But all things considered, safer than the boats.
Mission accomplished. Riggs is safely on board. In an average day, a dozen or more ships cross the bar. That means multiple transfers and multiple opportunities for disaster.
We can't make a mistake. If we get something out there that in the swell's too big, he's going to hit the bottom and break in half.
Unlike the 600-foot-long cargo ship, the 2-city-block-long container ship cuts through the swell generated by the bar. But it's just the calm before the storm. Every ship that crosses the Columbia River's dangerous sandbar is required by law to have one of the world's few fully qualified captains at the helm. When the storms blow in from the Pacific, the river mouth explodes. Bringing a ship the size of 2 city blocks safely into port is just part of the daily grind for a bar pilot, one like Kurt Naring.
Of all the pilotages in the United States, I mean, this is probably the toughest because of the conditions. So if you're going to be a pilot, you might as well be a pilot on the Columbia River bar so you can say you're a number one. Hey, Splasheroo!
Hey, Kurt.
When the weather turns bad, my wife will pick up the phone and we make sure we talk to each other before we close out the night. If I'm headed out to a ship, I'll call her before I go. But again, it's not something that you fixate on. If you fixate on that, you can't do this job out here.
He's coming back.
Hey, Cap. Take care.
Catch you later, Billy.
Naring's first job of the day is to pilot an empty car carrier through the narrow passage. This one's heading to Korea. After a 40-foot ladder climb, he must scale 7 stories of stairs to reach the bridge. Naring quickly sizes up his temporary ship and crew.
For me, the first clue is if a ship is dirty inside. Then you start worrying about how well the crew is maintaining the ship and how well the crew is trained. If you come aboard even an old rusty ship, but it's clean and the crew is neat, and you can tell from the attitude of the crew, this is a good crew, she's going to be a good ship, I won't have a problem with it.
On the bridge, he takes control of the enormous piece of floating metal.
Oh, Captain. A ship this size with this much weight on it would take 3 to 4 miles to stop. People don't realize, small boaters and things like that, don't realize how much it takes to stop one of these things.
Naring immediately realizes he's got a big problem. It's fellow bar pilot Thrawn Riggs, working a strong current and heading towards him.
Security, the car carrier Scarborough, bound for sea, standing by 13 and 16 for concerned traffic, the Scarborough.
Pressure waves made by the 2 mammoth vessels in a small channel will push them away from each other at first. But if the pilots don't adjust just right, the larger vessel will pull the smaller one into a collision course with the channel's sides. There's no room for mistakes.
Starboard 10. Well, the channel's only 200 yards wide. So by room, I'm talking a couple hundred feet. A lot of room is 200. Room is 100. You're getting close around 50.
The giants are getting uncomfortably close.
265.
They pull it off. The knife edge pass is a safe one. The day ends, but traffic on the Columbia River never sleeps. It's an around-the-clock business. Rookie Captain Kevin Dooney is at the helm, solo, for the very first time.
This is the log ship Global Wisdom, outbound for sea at the Astoria Pilot Change Station.
Dooney is a new bar pilot, but he's got 2 decades of experience at sea.
260.
I've been a bar pilot for 2 weeks now. I went through a fairly rigorous 3-month training period.
Starboard 10.
I was up all hours of the day, all hours of the night, trying to ride every single ship that came across the bar that I could.
Dooney's watching over a large cargo of heavy logs, worth millions to the American economy. In rough seas, they're pushing and straining against the chains that hold them in place. Dooney's crew constantly checks to see the logs are secure. Out here, one slip on the moving logs could send them into the freezing water. In the dead of night, they'd never be seen again.
They can be very slippery if they've been debarked. When the logs are set on top of one another, obviously there'll be spaces and gaps between them. You don't want to put your feet or your ankles in between those gaps because it'll start to shift when it starts to roll. And you don't want to be in between those points. You want to be on top of the logs and you want to stay nimble on your feet.
Thank you.
Nighttime crossings bring other hazards. Working in the dark allows Dooney to see other ships and navigation lights, but that means he can't see his own deck.
Yes. The worst seas are found between this buoy here at buoy number 8 and the next 2 buoys down, buoy number 4. What was that? Hope that's something. Cargo isn't shifting.
Rookie Dooney must check out every bump and grind within earshot.
Midships. Starboard 20.
Dooney quickly scans his instrument panel. Everything looks good, but the noise still has him on high alert.
Some of the cargo moved a little bit, and you heard that little popping of the chains down there. That's when she's first started to feel the movement.
In this case, the shifting of the logs has made them more snug. A good thing to occur so early in the trip.
And she'll start to pitch now. You know, she'll start to kind of dance in the seas here, and that'll help to settle the cargo before we get out.
Dooney gets the freighter past the bar, and now he has to get off the ship. The Seahawk will swoop in and pick him up, but that needs to happen at the center of the ship. And that means Dooney will have to climb over the slippery logs in the dark. As the ocean pitches and churns, Dooney gets to his pickup zone as quickly as possible, knowing one slip means certain death. He makes it. Dooney's day is over, but the Seahawk is showing signs of a mechanical breakdown. Flashing warning lights are never a good sign this far out to sea. The helicopter won't be flying again tonight.
Suzanne, let's get this bird back to dry land.
Thank you.
The next day, sandbar pilot Mike Tierney is on duty. He's been doing this job for 2 years and has pride in keeping the port open and running.
We work right up to where you absolutely have to close the bar, and that's probably the most dangerous conditions for us. The conditions are deteriorating, the wind's picking up, the swells are building, yet we still want to get that last ship across before we close.
Steer course 312.
Keeping the Columbia River operating in extreme weather, when other ports might shut down, is an important part of Mike's job.
Probably 80 to 90% of our imports do come by ship. It's a huge part of the commerce of the United States.
Mike knows every time he commands a successful voyage, it is vital to thousands of lives up and down the river. Just as many jobs and millions of dollars are at stake.
They don't really pay us for getting the ship in and out. They pay us for when things go to hell in a handbasket. We're expected to react and to minimize the situation and to basically save the ship.
Mike's still miles from the sandbar, but already he's got real trouble up ahead.
Thank you.
A small boat directly in front of his ship.
Yep, I see him.
It takes 3 miles to stop a fully loaded freighter.
There's the outbound boat carrier Econ Kembong to the outbound sport fisherman. He shouldn't be where he's at right now. Sometimes they lose sight of where ships are because they're fishing, so it's always a good idea to call them and let them know that we're looming large in their rearview mirror.
Just as Tierney calls for evasive action,
314, please.
Carol, I think you're calling me. I'm trying to slide over out of your way.
the fishing boat changes course and avoids disaster.
Okay, Captain, we're right behind you. Deep loaded ship, so we're gonna need the channel here.
Now Tierney has a bigger problem. Maneuvering to avoid the fishing boat has narrowed his clearance. He's only feet from hitting bottom.
Hey, Captain, what is the draft of your vessel?
My draft now is 12.17.
12.17 meters, okay. It's about 40 feet, very deep, okay.
If the ship strikes, it will sink. Only the wave height keeps him off.
A ship does what's called smell the bottom, and she can be real sluggish to steer, and it takes a long time to get speed up. She can vibrate quite a bit if you're that close to the bottom. So you just have to feel all these things and understand them and just adjust the ship's speed and course accordingly to minimize those effects.
Tierney makes the crossing with little to spare. But now, he has to leave.
It's up to the individual pilot whether they want to use the boat or the helicopter. I'm kind of more of a boat guy.
His pickup is a small boat called the Chinook. Getting tossed around like a kid's toy, it makes a roller coaster ride look simple.
All right, now we're in his wake.
skipper Kenny Olson powers through the swells to catch Tierney.
I've been in this job for 29 years. My philosophy is there's nothing in the ocean that's going to hurt the boats and the crews, but the Columbia River bar can kill us in a second.
Where the mighty Columbia meets the vast Pacific, that's right here.
Tierney muscles his way out of the danger zone.
Good job on the wheel. Number one. Number one.
But now there's still one more spine-jarring journey for Tierney, getting on that boat. The next 2 minutes are the most dangerous. Olson must run the Chinook directly at the freighter, then hold fast while Tierney makes the nerve-wracking climb down the ladder.
There's always a danger when you're putting a small boat like ours up against a heavy ship. You just do what you can to keep the boat under the ladder so the pilot can safely get off or get on.
If the Chinook gets shoved away at the moment of Tierney's leap, he'll fall into the freezing sea, and he'll risk getting sucked into the ship's propeller.
You got to be on your game out there. It's very dangerous, and you have to be very quick and agile when you're running 20 to 25 feet of swell out there. So your boat's rising and falling, sometimes 30 to 40 feet.
He makes it. The ship heads away, taking its valuable cargo with it.
See you later.
Meanwhile, some 300 miles away, Captain Bill Worth says goodbye to his wife, Barbara.
Bye, babe.
He won't see her now for 2 weeks.
I've been married 35 years, and she went to sea with me on British ships, and so she knows what it's like, you know, and but she doesn't know what the bar's like, and she's not gonna know.
He's flying in to take his place on the pilot's roster. His private seaplane takes an hour to reach the Columbia shores. Bill Worth's love of flying is the reason why the bar pilot's operation now uses the Seahawk helicopter for most of its drops and pickups.
First couple of years I was working, every year somebody was in the hospital, and I looked at the helicopter, and it just seemed like the only way to go. Get into a helicopter, get above those waves instead of being down in them. Use 3 dimensions instead of 2.
Down below, the tiny town of Astoria is home base.
Here we are, there's Astoria.
Each captain is a partner in this business. It's good money, around $200,000 a year, but the stakes are high.
They pay us well, they compensate us well for taking the risk, and we're all well aware of what the risk is. And a lot of people depend on this river, I mean, all the way up. And most people don't realize that what this is. This is the cork in the end of the bottle.
Next morning, there's trouble at the Seahawk Helicopter Air Base.
It's really frustrating. It really is, and of course, and you know, it's not great for the company. But what can you do?
The only aircraft in the country powerful and safe enough to hoist at sea has an electrical problem.
I mean, if we can, what's it got to fill 80% of the hole?
But no one can find the problem to fix it. The Seahawk isn't owned by the bar captains. It's leased. Every member of the Seahawk team is working hard to get it fixed and flying again. Their jobs are on the line.
When you do this job, it's handy to have long fingers, please believe me.
If the Seahawk stays grounded for more than 3 days, the Columbia River bar pilots can cancel the lease.
The problem we've had has been a real stumper. A lot of things on this plane are electronic. And if one little thing's off, it'll throw all kinds of systems.
So now we're gonna,
Every wire, every circuit, every switch has to be tested. Literally thousands of connections are being scrutinized. Right now, the small Chinook boat is the only way of getting the captains to and from their freighters. That means if anything happens to it, the billion-dollar river trade will stop dead in its tracks. It takes 2 to 3 hours for a giant ship to pass through the mouth of the Columbia River. Its powerful currents can crush a ship like a tin can.
Okay, thanks, Cap.
On a busy day, the bar pilots rely on the speed of the helicopter to get them from ship to ship. But the Seahawk is out of commission, and the pilot's only option is the Chinook. And that's not good news to pilots like Bill Worth.
When we use the boats, we use a system that's been around since the sailing ship days, a rope ladder down the side of a ship. And climbing a rope ladder down the side of a ship has always been really hazardous. You have to take an awful lot of faith in the man at the top that he's going to tie the rope right, that the ladder is well maintained. And so there's an awful lot of faith in this job.
Right now, Worth's faith is in the Chinook coming alongside and holding steady. Worth's preference is the helicopter. That could mean he's rusty on the ladder. One false step means not making it home. Forever. Timing is everything. If the Chinook gets bounced from the ship at the moment of his jump, he'll drop between both vessels, where he could be crushed, then sucked into the giant wake. Worth gets ready to leap to the deck. But he hesitates when the freighter's captain doesn't turn to the correct heading. The Chinook isn't holding. It suddenly veers away.
You get out there and sometimes the ship is not doing what you want it to do, and then you start thinking about all the stuff you've learned, you're using everything that you know, everything in your experience, and it's still not turning. And then personal danger, yeah, you can get a pretty good adrenaline rush on the bar.
The Chinook tries for a second approach. They have to get Worth off before the ship steams into international waters. Too far for the Chinook to work. Worth would be forced to sail all the way to its next port, Japan. Second time round, a safe transfer.
I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for the helicopter. We've been to the moon, you'd think we could have improved the way to get on and off ships. And the helicopter is the difference, that's the way to do it.
I know that the wiring diagram that I'm using is right.
For an entire week, the Chinook picks up the slack in the water. Everyone is anxiously waiting for the helicopter to come back online. And the Seahawk crew is feeling the pressure.
I've already spent too much time on this airplane right now, more than I want to, but I don't have much of a choice. It's got to get fixed. So my back's against the wall, and that's it. That's how you slice it. Get it fixed so we can go flying and make some money.
At this point, since the Seahawk's been down for 7 days, that means the Columbia River bar captains can cancel the lease and fire the entire helicopter crew.
That stuff over to UPS.
Okay.
All they can do is keep working the problem and get the bird back in the air.
You know, helicopters are made to fly. If they're not flying, they're not making money. So we've got to get them up.
Back on the Columbia River, Captain George Weyer is in the middle of his shift aboard the outbound grain ship New Creation. He's had a smooth sailing shift.
Port 15.
But all that is about to change as George is about to go head-to-head with Mother Nature.
First thing I was told, I think, when I came in here is this is the second worst bar in the world. I've been here 27 years, and I have yet for anybody to tell me where the worst bar in the world is.
Waves on the bar are choppy, 12 to 14 feet. Ware prepares for the worst and gives orders to take precautions.
So what we're doing now is making sure that the bow is clear and that everybody's going to be inside so we don't get somebody hurt on the bar.
His safety measures are necessary. The weather's getting nasty.
I'm going to put my shiny pants on here. I thought I thought the rain was falling a little slowly today. There's a reason for that. It isn't rain, it's snow. There's a saying that if you don't like the weather, just wait a few minutes, it'll change. And this weather, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen this before.
Back with the ailing Seahawk, Bill Worth decides to stop by and put some pressure on the exhausted mechanics.
When are you guys gonna get that thing fixed, Mike? Right, promises, promises.
The bad wiring has finally been located, somewhere in a bunch of 90 wires, arteries that run the entire length of the aircraft. Now, they just have to find that one single wire. The high-tech helicopter gets a very low-tech solution. Mechanics slice the wires one by one and test them all.
Been a real curse, huh?
It's a wire segment, but we're not sure where in the wire segment it's bad.
We still love you even if we have to go to work in that boat.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta go to work. Hey,
No.
keep
All right.
at it.
We're
Thanks a lot.
trying, Bill.
I know you are.
We're trying. We're getting her. All right.
We got a ship to get.
Very good.
Kenny Olson is piloting the Chinook today, waiting to transfer sandbar captain George Ware. But a sudden snowstorm has the entire trade route on red alert.
Ice is no fun, and the boat itself was icing up. Makes, you know, the radar doesn't work quite as well, and there's the visibility issue. We'd asked them not to put their ladder out until the last minute before the boat arrived.
That's so the ice doesn't form on the ladder, but it's no guarantee. Ice or not, with no helicopter, Ware must climb the ladder.
I fear more falling on the pilot boat than falling in the water.
Captain Ware's only way of getting off the ship is to trust a ladder that's slick with ice. And a leap of faith onto the slippery deck of the Chinook below. He's lucky this time. With Ware safely on board, he knows that working the unpredictable bar is to expect the unexpected.
The boat has never bothered me. As far as the motion of the boat, it can be violent. It's an amusement ride that you'll never get in the park.
The snowstorm passes. That's good news for moving ships on the Columbia. And there's more good news at the Seahawk helicopter base. After more than a week stuck in the hangar, Wayne and Jeremy finally have something to celebrate.
So this is the victory cigar.
Victory cigar. Get that,
having a
that
helicopter
stupid
back
thing
up.
fixed. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing that, you know, that big machine, one tiny little wire was all that it was. One tiny little wire. We just had to find the right wire.
Like they said, FRED, F-R-E-D, frickin' ridiculous electronic device.
Okay, just fire up on number one then.
Just number one to idle will work.
Sounds good.
On the tarmac, it's time for the Seahawks' first test flight. Fittingly, sandbar captain and private pilot Bill Worth will be the first passenger.
Just watch her for a few minutes, Captain, see everything settles down all right. And we'll get suited up to go.
He spared the winch for this transfer. There's enough room on the deck for the Seahawk to land.
I was 19 when I started doing this, and I'm getting toward the end of my career now, you know, and I'll miss it really bad when I stop doing it. And I'll only stop doing it because physically I'll feel as though I'm not quite up to it anymore. And then that's when most of us go. They always used to say that on the bar that when you start looking at the weather 4 or 5 days out coming in, it's time for you to start thinking about retiring.
Now that's what I call a nice way to go to work. Yeah. This is a real treat. I'm not sure you guys working keep you up till later on this afternoon. I thought it'd be this evening. Ah, God, I missed you guys being down.
After its longest downtime ever, the helicopter is back in action. The Seahawk crew are lucky. They've saved their jobs. For the elite crew working the violent Columbia River, the last 2 weeks have been a flawless operation. There hasn't been one closure, despite mechanical failure and snowstorms.
We're not supposed to open the door over 60 knots. Right.
One last crossing, and these pilots can end this shift with their pride and record intact.
I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get into. It can be flat common. You get out onto the helicopter and you get outside and it's blowing 50.
Hey, Roger, Cap. I need you to come hard and start.
After a 15-day run on the river, Columbia Captain Kurt Naring has one final ship to take over the treacherous bar before being rewarded with 2 weeks of well-deserved rest. The wind is blowing at over 55 miles per hour. It's the kind of blast that can shatter glass and take the roof off a building.
The wave height, which is from the trough to the crest, is about the equivalent to the height of a 3-story building.
Naring could close the bar and simply go home. The ship would sail on to another port. But his pilot pride won't let him give up so easily. He's dead set on getting aboard the freighter. Naring gives the gutsy order to go. He's keeping an eye on the ship's cranes. He's afraid he'll get slammed into one of them, like a bug on a windshield.
The winch guy's kind of looking out and looking back, trying to figure out how can we position this helicopter and drag him into position. And I'm looking that if they do that, if all of a sudden we lose this wind, then we're going to end up in the rigging.
This attempt is aborted. The ship is being tossed too much. But Naring's not giving up yet.
You know, while I'm kind of streaming back there, I'm kind of looking around and saying, how can we get this thing done?
He sees the ship settling and decides to give it another shot. But as they lower him, the waves pick up and the ship begins to roll even harder. They pause to wait for Naring's signal. His experience tells him to abandon the hoist. He just might have to close the Columbia after all.
Heading to the north.
I got fuel for about one more truck. All right. Yeah, we don't want to push you in this kind of weather.
One last attempt. The ship is turned and for a moment stops rolling. Naring takes his chance. Fortune favors the brave. Naring detaches and hits the deck to take control of the heaving ship.
090, please.
The Columbia River bar won't be shut down.
It keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you young, and it keeps your adrenaline running, and keeps a smile on your face most of the time. And every now and then, the smile disappears, and that's when we're really working here.
This time, the brave captains have beaten the Columbia. Now, they've got 2 weeks off, and then they'll return to do battle again.
Mother Nature, just about the time you get it all figured out, old mom's got a sense of humor. She says something. Watch this.